Evidence number 1. A Crusader army at the walls of Constantinople. Evidence number 2. They're supposed to be in Egypt. Evidence number 3. 3 days later, the city is in ruins and the Crusaders are millionaires. This isn't war. This is the heist of the century. Let's investigate who organized the greatest betrayal in the history of Christianity. Start with the fact that Crusaders never planned to attack Constantinople. The plan was different. Sail to Egypt, fight Muslims, liberate Jerusalem. Standard Fourth Crusade program. But something went wrong from the very beginning. Year 1202, Venice. Thousands of Crusaders gather at the port. They've sold their homes, left their families, ready for holy war. One problem: no money for ships. The Venetians demand 85,000 marks of silver. The Crusaders have 0. Enter Enrico Dandolo, the Doge of Venice. He's 90 years old and blind, but sees profit perfectly. He offers a deal. Want ships? Fine. First capture Zara, a Christian city on the coast. It's Venice's trade competitor. The Crusaders hesitate. Attack Christians? That violates everything. But they're broke, stranded, desperate. So they agree. In November 1202, they storm Zara. They slaughter its defenders. Pope Innocent III excommunicates the entire army. They're already damned, and they haven't even left Europe. Then comes deal number 2. A Byzantine prince named Alexios shows up. His father was overthrown. He makes an offer. Help me reclaim the throne, and I'll pay you 200,000 silver marks, plus 10,000 soldiers for Egypt. Sounds perfect. The Crusaders need money. Alexios needs an army. Everyone wins, or so they think. In June 1203, the fleet arrives at Constantinople. They restore Alexios to power. He becomes Emperor Alexios IV. He promises to pay. He promises everything, but he can't deliver. The treasury is empty. The people hate him for bringing foreigners. Riots break out. In January 1204, Alexios is strangled in a palace coup. New emperor takes over. His message to the Crusaders: get out. No payment, no alliance. Just leave. The Crusaders realize they've been played. They've wasted 2 years. They're excommunicated. They're broke. And now they won't get paid. So they make a decision. If Constantinople won't pay them, they'll take payment themselves. On March 1204, Crusader leaders sign a pact. When we conquer the city, we split everything: gold, relics, land, power. 50% to Venice, 50% to Crusaders. This isn't a rescue mission anymore. It's a robbery plan. The question isn't whether they'll attack. It's whether anyone will stop them. Spoiler: nobody does. April 9th, 1204. First assault. The Crusaders attack the walls. Byzantine defenders pour Greek fire down, liquid flame that burns on water. Crusaders retreat with heavy losses, but they don't give up. They regroup, build taller siege towers, wait for the wind to change. April 12th, second attack. This time, the wind blows from the north. It pushes their ships against the walls. Towers lock onto the battlements. Crusaders pour over the defenses. By sunset, they're inside. Emperor Mortzuflos flees the palace. The imperial guards scatter. There's no organized defense. And then the nightmare begins. The Crusaders don't just occupy Constantinople, they devour it. Street by street, house by house. They kick down doors and drag families outside. Old men are killed in their homes. Women are assaulted in churches. Children are trampled in panic. This isn't Jan warfare, this is slaughter. A Byzantine chronicler named Nicetas Choniates records what he sees: Crusaders laughing as they murder unarmed civilians, soldiers throwing holy items into gutters to make room for gold, a prostitute dancing on the church throne while drunk warriors cheer. The Crusaders tear through the imperial palace. Rooms filled with ancient manuscripts are looted. Statues standing for centuries are smashed for scrap metal. Golden candelabras, silk tapestries, jeweled crowns. Everything that can be carried is carried. Everything that can't is destroyed. Then they hit the churches. These are supposed to be sacred spaces, protected, off limits. But Crusaders see only treasure. They rip icons off walls. They pry gems from altars. They melt down golden crosses for bullion. In the Church of Holy Apostles, they smash open emperor tombs to steal burial jewelry. The dead aren't even safe. Priceless relics disappear. Ancient artifacts believed to be sacred, stolen, packed onto ships, divided as loot. But it's the violence against people that cuts deepest. A monk praying in his monastery is killed for his robes. A merchant hiding his family in a cellar is dragged out and executed when he won't reveal his gold. Elderly priests are beaten in their own churches. Fires break out across the city. Some accidental, knocked candles in chaos. Others deliberate. Crusaders torching neighborhoods to flush out hiding residents. Entire streets collapse. Libraries burn. Centuries of knowledge turn to ash. By the second day, the city looks like a war zone. Bodies pile in squares. Smoke chokes the sky. Survivors huddle in ruins, too terrified to move. Some try to escape by sea. They're hunted down. Boats capsized. Families drowned. This goes on for 3 days, 72 hours of unchecked brutality. No command structure, no rules. Every crusader becomes his own warlord. They compete to see who can grab the most. Fights break out between soldiers over loot. Nicetas Choniates record the final count. Buildings destroyed, priceless art lost, lives erased. He writes that even enemies of their faith showed more mercy to cities than these crusaders did to their own. By April 15th, the killing slows, not because of mercy, because there's nothing left to take. Constantinople is bled dry. The city that once held 500,000 people is reduced to rubble and trauma. The Byzantine Empire will limp on for another 250 years, but it never recovers. The wound is too deep. And the men who caused it? They load their plunder onto ships and sail home as heroes. They donate stolen relics to churches across Europe. They build fortunes on Byzantine gold. They thank their God for success. So who's guilty? Let's examine the suspects. Suspect number 1, Enrico Dandolo, Doge of Venice. 90 years old, blind, but sharp as a blade. He never cared about Jerusalem. He cared about trade routes. He cared about eliminating competition. Constantinople was Venice's biggest rival in Mediterranean commerce. Dandolo saw the crusade as a weapon. He aimed it at his enemy. He manipulated desperate crusaders into attacking Zara first. Then he pushed them toward Constantinople. When the city fell, Venice got 50% of everything. Dandolo personally claimed the 4 bronze horses from the Hippodrome, ancient Greek sculptures that still decorate Venice today. His motive? Pure business. Destroy a competitor, grab market share, get rich. Guilty? Absolutely. Suspect number 2, the Crusader leaders, Boniface of Montferrat, Baldwin of Flanders. They made the choice to attack. They signed the pact to divide the loot. When Constantinople fell, they carved up Byzantine territory like a business deal. Boniface became king of Thessalonica. Baldwin became the first Latin emperor of Constantinople. They got kingdoms out of this robbery. Their motive? Ambition? Power? They couldn't go home as failures. They'd left everything behind. They needed a win, so they took one. Guilty? Yes. Suspect number 3, Pope Innocent III. He excommunicated the Crusaders for attacking Zara. He condemned the violence. But when they conquered Constantinople, he changed his tune. Suddenly, it was a victory for the Church, a chance to unite Eastern and Western Christianity under Rome. He lifted the excommunication. He blessed the Latin Empire. He accepted stolen relics for churches in Rome. His motive? Political gain, religious control. The Eastern Church had refused to acknowledge papal authority for a century. Now they had no choice. Guilty? Partially. He didn't order the attack, but he legitimized it after. Suspect number 4, the ordinary Crusaders. Thousands of soldiers who actually did the killing, the looting, the burning. They had a choice. They could have refused. They could have said no, but they didn't, because they were desperate, because they were broke, because taking what they wanted was easier than going home empty-handed. Their motive? Survival, greed, human nature, guilty, every single one who participated. But here's the real answer. They're all guilty. This wasn't one person's crime. It was a conspiracy, a chain of decisions where everyone chose profit over principles. Dandolo weaponized the crusade. The leaders agreed to the plan. The Pope legitimized the result. The soldiers executed the crime. And the consequences? Catastrophic. The sack doesn't just destroy Constantinople. It destroys any chance of unity between Eastern and Western Christianity. The split that began in 1054 becomes permanent, irreversible. Eastern Christians never trust the West again, never forgive, never forget. When the Ottomans finally conquered Constantinople in 1453, 249 years later, many Byzantines say they prefer Muslim rule to Western Christian help. That's how deep the betrayal cuts. The Fourth Crusade also kills the crusading movement itself. After Constantinople, people stop believing in the cause. They see crusades for what they really are. Military expeditions dressed in religious language, land grabs with crosses on shields. Future popes call for crusades. Nobody answers. The trust is gone. And it all traces back to April 1204, to the moment when Crusaders chose gold over their mission, when they proved that principles collapse under pressure. Constantinople falls because everyone involved chooses to let it fall. Because theft is easier than honor. Because they can. Case closed. April 15th, 1204. The fires die down. The screaming stops. Constantinople goes silent. What's left? Ruins. Ash. A city that once held 500,000 people now barely holds 50,000. Survivors wander through wreckage, searching for family members who will never be found. The Latin Empire that Crusaders established lasts 57 years. It's weak, corrupt, hated by everyone. The Byzantines reclaim Constantinople in 1261, but it's a hollow victory. The wealth is gone. The libraries are gone. The confidence is gone. When the Ottomans arrive 2 centuries later, they're conquering a shadow. Investigation complete. The evidence is clear. This wasn't a tragic mistake. This was a calculated crime. Dandolo wanted profit. The leaders wanted power. The soldiers wanted loot. Everyone got what they wanted, except Constantinople. It got destroyed. 3 days, 100,000 dead. A civilization erased by people who were supposed to protect it. The greatest betrayal in Christian history wasn't committed by outsiders. It was an inside job.